Language Foundations Vocabulary Flashcards, helping you achieve understanding.
Make more concise. Direct one's attention on something. Be cooked until very little liquid is left. Make central. Compress or concentrate. Cook until very little liquid is left. The desired mineral that is left after impurities have been removed from mind or. A concentrated example of something. The concentrate of contemporary despair. A concentrated form of a foodstuff. The bulk is reduced by removing water. Draw together or meet in one common center. These groups concentrate in the inner cities. Make denser, stronger, or purer. Concentrate juice. Make more concise. Condense the contents of a book into a summary. Compress or concentrate. Congress condensed the 3-year plan into a 6-month plan. Undergo condensation. Change from a gaseous to a liquid state and fall in drops. Water condenses. Become more compact or concentrated. Her feelings condensed. Cause a gas or vapor to change into a liquid. The cold air condensed the steam. Developed due to condensation. All our planets condensed out of the same material. Remove water from. Condense the milk. Put up with something or somebody unpleasant. Make more concise. Something that is compiled, as into a single book or file. A periodical that summarizes the news. Arrange and integrate in the mind. I cannot digest all this information. Become assimilated into the body. Protein digests in a few hours. Convert food into absorbable substances. I cannot digest milk products. Soften or disintegrate, as by undergoing exposure to heat or moisture. Soften or disintegrate by means of chemical action, heat, or moisture. Systematize, as by classifying and summarizing. The government digested the entire law into a code. A building dedicated to a particular activity. They were raising money to build a new center for research. The object upon which interest and attention focuses. His stories made him the center of the party. Direct one's attention on something. Move into the center. That vase in the picture is not centered. A cluster of nerve cells governing a specific bodily process. In most people, the speech center is in the left hemisphere. The sweet central portion of a piece of candy that is enclosed in chocolate or some other covering. Mercantile establishment consisting of a carefully landscaped complex of shops representing leading merchandisers. Usually includes restaurants and a convenient parking area. A modern version of the traditional marketplace. Equally distant from the extremes. A place where some particular activity is concentrated. They received messages from several centers. Football. The person who plays center on the line of scrimmage and snaps the ball to the quarterback. The center fumbled the handoff. A point equidistant from the ends of a line or the extremities of a figure. An area that is approximately central within some larger region. It is in the center of town. Center upon. Her entire attention centered on her children. The choicest or most essential or most vital part of some idea or experience. The piece of ground in the outfield directly ahead of the catcher. He hit the ball to deep center. American football. The position of the player on the line of scrimmage who puts the ball in play. It is a center's responsibility to get the football to the quarterback. A position on a basketball team of the player who participates in the jump that starts the game. Basketball. The person who plays center on a basketball team. Ice hockey. The person who plays center on a hockey team. Of or belonging to neither the right nor the left politically or intellectually. Politically moderate persons, centrists. The middle of a military or naval formation. They had to reinforce the center. The position on a hockey team of the player who participates in the face-off at the beginning of the game. A building dedicated to a particular activity. The object upon which interest and attention focuses. Direct one's attention on something. Move into the center. A cluster of nerve cells governing a specific bodily process. The sweet central portion of a piece of candy that is enclosed in chocolate or some other covering. A place where some particular activity is concentrated. A point equidistant from the ends of a line or the extremities of a figure. An area that is approximately central within some larger region. The choicest or most essential or most vital part of some idea or experience. A low-lying region in central France. Become focused or come into focus. The light focused. The concentration of attention or energy on something. The focus of activity shifted to molecular biology. Direct one's attention on something. Please focus on your studies and not on your hobbies. Bring into focus or alignment, to converge or cause to converge, of ideas or emotions. Special emphasis attached to something. A central point or locus of an infection in an organism. The focus of infection. A point of convergence of light, or other radiation, or a point from which it diverges. Put an image into focus. Please focus the image, we cannot enjoy the movie. A fixed reference point on the concave side of a conic section. Cause to converge on or toward a central point. Maximum clarity or distinctness of an idea. The controversy brought clearly into focus an important difference of opinion. Maximum clarity or distinctness of an image rendered by an optical system. In focus. Direct one's attention on something. A minute epidermal pore in a leaf or stem through which gases and water vapor can pass. Any small opening in the skin or outer surface of an animal. Any tiny hole admitting passage of a liquid, fluid or gas. Direct one's attention on something. Ornament consisting of a circular rounded protuberance, as on a vault or shield or belt. Fasten with a rivet or rivets. Heavy pin having a head at one end and the other end being hammered flat after being passed through holes in the pieces that are fastened together. Hold someone's attention. The discovery of the skull riveted the paleontologists. Be cooked until very little liquid is left. Be the essential element. Cook until very little liquid is left. Be cooked until very little liquid is left. Extract the essence of something by boiling it. Steep in hot water. Cut down on. Make a reduction in. Reduce your daily fat intake. Take off weight. Be cooked until very little liquid is left. The sauce should reduce to 1 cup. Lessen the strength or flavor of a solution or mixture. Reduce in scope while retaining essential elements. Be the essential element. Put down by force or intimidation. Make smaller. Reduce an image. To remove oxygen from a compound, or cause to react with hydrogen or form a hydride, or to undergo an increase in the number of electrons. Narrow or limit. Reduce the influx of foreigners. Cook until very little liquid is left. The cook reduced the sauce by boiling it for a long time. Reduce in size. Reduce physically. Bring to humbler or weaker state or condition. He reduced the population to slavery. De-stress and thus weaken a sound when pronouncing it. Lessen and make more modest. Reduce one's standard of living. Lower in grade or rank or force somebody into an undignified situation. She reduced her niece to a servant. Make less complex. Reduce a problem to a single question. Reposition. A broken bone after surgery, back to its normal site. Simplify the form of a mathematical equation of expression by substituting one term for another. Undergo meiosis. The cells reduce. Make central. Make central. The Russian government centralized the distribution of food. Become smaller or draw together. Enter into a contractual arrangement. Reduce in scope while retaining essential elements. Contract bridge. The highest bid becomes the contract setting the number of tricks that the bidder must make. Make or become more narrow or restricted. A variety of bridge in which the bidder receives points toward game only for the number of tricks he bid. Compress or concentrate. Engage by written agreement. Squeeze or press together. The spasm contracted the muscle. Be stricken by an illness, fall victim to an illness. A binding agreement between two or more persons that is enforceable by law. Make smaller. The heat contracted the woolen garment. The desired mineral that is left after impurities have been removed from mined ore. Edit by omitting or modifying parts considered indelicate. Reduce in scope while retaining essential elements. The manuscript must be shortened. Become short or shorter. In winter, the days shorten. Make shorter than originally intended. Reduce or retrench in length or duration. He shortened his trip due to illness. Make short or shorter. Shorten the skirt. Reduce in scope while retaining essential elements. Lessen, diminish, or curtail. The new law might abridge our freedom of expression. The omission that is made when an editorial change shortens a written passage. Weed out unwanted or unnecessary things. We had to lose weight, so we cut the sugar from our diet. Cut down on. Make a reduction in. The employer wants to cut back health benefits. The act of penetrating or opening open with a sharp edge. His cut in the lining revealed the hidden jewels. Made neat and tidy by trimming. In baseball, a batter's attempt to hit a pitched ball. He took a vicious cut at the ball. Used of rates or prices, reduced usually sharply. Lessen the strength or flavor of a solution or mixture. Cut bourbon. Cut and assemble the components of. Cut recording tape. Used of grass or vegetation, cut down with a hand implement or machine. Reduce in scope while retaining essential elements. The act of cutting something into parts. His cuts were skillful. Refuse to acknowledge. She cut him dead at the meeting. Turn sharply. Change direction abruptly. The car cut to the left at the intersection. Be able to manage or manage successfully. She could not cut the long days in the office. Mixed with water. Sold cut whiskey. A refusal to recognize someone you know. The act of shortening something by chopping off the ends. The barber gave him a good cut. Sports. A stroke that puts reverse spin on the ball. Cuts do not bother a good tennis player. Style and tailor in a certain fashion. Cut a dress. With parts removed. The drastically cut film. A wound made by cutting. He put a bandage over the cut. Create by duplicating data. Cut a disk. Cease, stop. Cut the noise. Cut off the testicles, of male animals such as horses. A piece of meat that has been cut from an animal carcass. Make out an issue. Cut a ticket. A trench resembling a furrow that was made by erosion or excavation. A remark capable of wounding mentally. The unkindest cut of all. Intentionally fail to attend. Cut class. A distinct selection of music from a recording or a compact disc. He played the first cut on the CD. The division of a deck of cards before dealing. He insisted that we give him the last cut before every deal. Of a male animal, having the testicles removed. A cut horse. Cuss to stop operating by disengaging a switch. Cut the engine. A canal made by erosion or excavation. Allow incision or separation. This bread cuts easily. An unexcused absence from class. He was punished for taking too many cuts in his math class. A share of the profits. Everyone got a cut of the earnings. A step on some scale. He is a cut above the rest. Discharge from a group. The coach cut 2 players from the team. Dissolve by breaking down the fat of. Soap cuts grease. Divide a deck of cards at random into 2 parts to make selection difficult. Wayne cut. Fashioned or shaped by cutting. A well-cut suit. Fell by sawing. Hew. The Vietnamese cut a lot of timber while they occupied Cambodia. Film. An immediate transition from one shot to the next. The cut from the accident scene to the hospital seemed too abrupt. Form by probing, penetrating, or digging. Cut a hole. Form or shape by cutting or incising. Cut paper dolls. Function as a cutting instrument. This knife cuts well. Give the appearance or impression of. Cut a nice figure. Grow through the gums. The new tooth is cutting. Have a reducing effect. This cuts into my earnings. Have grow through the gums. The baby cut a tooth. Hit a ball with a spin so that it turns in the opposite direction. Cut a ping pong ball. Make an abrupt change of image or sound. Cut from one scene to another. Make an incision or separation. Cut along the dotted line. Make a recording of. Cut the songs. Move one's fist. His opponent cut upward toward his chin. Pass directly and often in haste. We cut through the neighbor's yard to get home sooner. Pass through or across. The boat cut the water. Penetrate injuriously. The glass from the shattered windshield cut into her forehead. Perform or carry out. Cut a caper. Reap or harvest. Cut grain. Record a performance on a medium. Cut a record. Separated into parts or laid open or penetrated with a sharp edge or instrument. The cut surface was modeled. Separate with or as if with an instrument. Shorten as if by severing the edges or ends of. Cut my hair. Stop filming. Cut a movie scene. The act of reducing the amount or number. The mayor proposed extensive cuts in the city budget. The style in which a garment is cut. A dress of traditional cut. Of pages of a book, having the folds of the leaves trimmed or slit. The cut pages of the book. Reduce in scope while retaining essential elements. Shorten lines in a drawing so as to create an illusion of depth. Reduce in scope while retaining essential elements. Shorten. Use or exercise the mind or one's power of reason in order to make inferences, decisions, or arrive at a solution or judgments. Consider carefully and deeply. Reflect upon. Turn over in one's mind. Judge or regard. Look upon, judge. I think he is very smart. Recall knowledge from memory. Have a recollection. I can't think what her last name was. Have in mind as a purpose. She didn't think to harm me. Expect, believe, or suppose. He didn't think to find her in the kitchen. Use or exercise the mind or one's power of reason in order to make inferences, decisions, or arrive at a solution or judgments. I've been thinking all day and getting nowhere. An instance of deliberate thinking. I need to give it a good think. bring into a given condition by mental preoccupation. Decide by pondering, reasoning, or reflecting. Can you think what to do next? Dispose the mind in a certain way. Do you really think so? Focus one's attention on a certain state. Think thin. Have or formulate in the mind. Think good thoughts. Imagine or visualize. Just think you could be rich one day. Ponder, reflect on, or reason about. Be capable of conscious thought. Man is the only creature that thinks. Use or exercise the mind or one's power of reason in order to make inferences, decisions, or arrive at a solution or judgments. Decrease in size, extent, or range. Make smaller. Wear off or die down. A process of becoming smaller or shorter. The act of decreasing or reducing something. Decrease in size, extent, or range. The amount of homework decreased towards the end of the semester. A change downward. There was a decrease in his temperature as the fever subsided. Make smaller. He decreased his staff. The amount by which something decreases. Decrease in size, extent, or range. Lessen the authority, dignity, or reputation of. Move downward and lower, but not necessarily all the way. The barometer is falling. The act of surrendering, usually under agreed conditions. Come into the possession of. When a wrestler's shoulders are forced to the mat. Fall from clouds. Rain, snow and sleet were falling. Lose an upright position suddenly. A sudden decline in strength or number or importance. The fall of the House of Habsburg. Fall or flow in a certain way. Fall to somebody by assignment or lot. A sudden sharp decrease in some quantity. When that became known, the price of their stock went into free fall. A free and rapid descent by the force of gravity. Touch or seem as if touching visually or audibly. Decrease in size, extent, or range. Come as if by falling. A downward slope or bend. The season when the leaves fall from the trees. In the fall of 1973. The time of day immediately following sunset. They finished before the fall of night. A sudden drop from an upright position. Come under, be classified or included. Fall into a category. Be inherited by. A lapse into sin. A loss of innocence or of chastity. A fall from virtue. A movement downward. The rise and fall of the tides. Assume a disappointed or sad expression. Be born, used chiefly of lambs. Be captured. Be cast down. Be due. Payments fall on the first of the month. Begin vigorously. Come out. Issue. Descend in free fall under the influence of gravity. Die, as in battle or in a hunt. Several deer have fallen to the same gun. Drop oneself to a lower or less erect position. Go as if by falling. Lose office or power. Lose one's chastity. A fallen woman. Move in a specified direction. The line of men fall forward. Occur at a specified time or place. Christmas falls on a Monday this year. Pass suddenly and passively into a state of body or mind. Fall into a trap. Slope downward. The hills around here fall towards the ocean. Suffer defeat, failure, or ruin. We must stand or fall. The lapse of mankind into sinfulness because of the sin of Adam and Eve. To be given by assignment or distribution. To be given by right or inheritance. Yield to temptation or sin. Cause to change, make different, cause a transformation. Add a modifier to a constituent. Make less severe or harsh or extreme. Please modify this letter to make it more polite. Lay aside, abandon, or leave for another. The car changed lanes. Cause to change, make different, cause a transformation. The discussion has changed my thinking about the issue. Exchange or replace with another, usually of the same kind or category. He changed his name. An event that occurs when something passes from one state or phase to another. The change was intended to increase sales. Become different in some particular way, without permanently losing one's or its former characteristics or essence. Her mood changes in accordance with the weather. Give to, and receive from, one another. Would you change places with me? Become deeper in tone. His voice began to change when he was 12 years old. Change from one vehicle or transportation line to another. She changed in Chicago on her way to the East Coast. A difference that is usually pleasant. It is a refreshing change to meet a woman mechanic. A different or fresh set of clothes. She brought a change in her overnight bag. A relational difference between states, especially between states before and after some event. He attributed the change to their marriage. A thing that is different. He inspected several changes before selecting one. Change clothes. Put on different clothes. Coins of small denomination regarded collectively. He had a pocketful of change. Money received in return for its equivalent in a larger denomination or a different currency. He got change for a 20 and used it to pay the taxi driver. Remove or replace the coverings of. Father had to learn how to change the baby. The action of changing something. The change of government had no impact on the economy. The balance of money received when the amount you tender is greater than the amount due. I paid with a 20 and pocketed the change. The result of alteration or modification. There were marked changes in the lining of the lungs. Undergo a change. Become different in essence, losing one's or its original nature. She changed completely as she grew older. Insert words into texts, often falsifying it thereby. Cause to change. Make different, cause a transformation. The advent of the automobile may have altered the growth pattern of the city. Become different in some particular way, without permanently losing one's or its former characteristics or essence. Remove the ovaries of. Make an alteration to. This dress needs to be altered. Make smaller.
Become our student and get access to effective and free educational materials. Subscribe to our YouTube channel to become a part of our growing YouTube community and to learn English effectively.